joining with congregations around the world to observe World Refugee Sunday. As we begin, let me start by defining the word refugee and sharing some statistics. By definition, refugees are people forced to flee their home country due to persecution, war, or violence. Today, there are more than 25.9 million refugees worldwide. We are currently in the midst of the world's worst refugee crisis. The average stay in a refugee camp is 17 years, and less than 1% of these refugees are resettled annually. Not all countries welcome refugees to be resettled, but last year, the U.S. invited 35,000 to rebuild their lives here, and 3,500 of those refugees were resettled in the Chicagoland area. All that to say, we are in the midst of COVID-19 and resettlement has slowed significantly. Additionally, many refugees are experiencing anxiety from the unrest in our communities. Today, we acknowledge and pray for refugees wherever they are in the world. The church, we have a unique privilege to welcome refugees into our communities and uphold their value and dignity as image bearers of God. We see this in Matthew 25:35 through 36, when Jesus tells us, "For I was hungry and you gave me food. I was thirsty and you gave me drink. I was a stranger and you welcomed me. I was naked and you clothed me. I was sick and you visited me. I was in prison and you came to me." One of the fascinating things about this scripture is that those at whom Jesus is talking, they don't react by giving themselves a pat on the back or filling themselves up with pride that they were recognized for their service. No, they actually respond with confusion in verses 37 through 39, saying, "Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you drink? And when did we see you a stranger and welcome you, or naked and clothe you? And when did we see you sick or in prison and visit you?" Now, do you see the beauty in their reaction? They don't see themselves as superheroes. They weren't swooping in to save the day. In their humility, they simply did what was natural to them. They saw people who were hungry, thirsty, homeless, cold, sick, and imprisoned, and they helped because it was the right thing to do. And in doing so, they had the privilege of serving Jesus himself. Now, listen to how Jesus responds to their confusion in verse 40. He says, "Truly, I say to you, as you did it to one of the least of these brothers, you did it to me." Now, Jesus saw their acts of love and kindness to others as serving him. Max Lucado summarized it this way: "When we love those in need, we are loving Jesus." Now, it is a mystery beyond science. It's a truth beyond statistics. But it's a message that Jesus made crystal clear, that when we love them, we love him. So what an honor to be able to love God by loving others. Now, we're also told that others will see our love. John 13:35 tells us, "And this is how everyone will recognize that you are my disciples, when they see the love that you have for each other." So Exodus World Service mobilizes the Christian community to follow this biblical mandate and welcome and befriend refugees. We do this by educating churches about the plight of refugees. We connect volunteers with refugees through practical service projects and equipping leaders to advocate on behalf of refugees. So Exodus connects these volunteers with refugees to help our new neighbors feel welcome and to acclimate to a new culture. It's through this relationship that we can help alleviate isolation and loneliness that refugees often experience in a new and confusing place. And walking through life and experiencing both the joy and the pain together make these relationships stronger. It's truly through this mutuality that lives are enriched by the beauty of learning and experiencing new cultures and new friends. Truly, reciprocated friendship, it's such a beautiful gift. Let me tell you a quick story. So Ahmed, he fled Afghanistan alone, leaving behind his parents and his siblings. The threat of violence against him as a young man was too great to stay. And when he arrived in Chicago, Exodus volunteers delivered a welcome pack for him that they had filled with items to help make his apartment feel like a home. So he was here in America alone. He didn't have family, and these volunteers were honored to be able to welcome him. So this volunteer family, they enjoyed music, and specifically they enjoy playing the guitar. And on one of these return visits, when they were visiting Ahmed, they saw that Ahmed had a stringed instrument that looked very much like a guitar. But in talking to him, Ahmed saw their interest and explained that it was called a tambour and that he had built it himself while waiting as a refugee to be resettled. So Ahmed, he taught them about how to use the tambour, and soon laughter and music and singing rose up from the apartment. So whether it's going out for ice cream or enjoying conversation over a meal, the simple act of welcome has enriched them all because of the gift of shared friendship. So refugees, they're people just like you and me. They are neighbors who are seeking to rebuild their lives. And we as Christians have the privilege of walking alongside of them as image bearers of God. And just think, when we welcome our new neighbors, we are welcoming God Himself. What an honor.